Good evening. You're watching the 7 o'clock English news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. His Highness Sayyid Asad bin Tariq Al Saeed discusses with the U.S. Ambassador enhancing bilateral cooperation between the Sultanate and the United States. The Sultanate condemns the terrorist attack in the British city of Manchester, and the Sultanate's embassy in London stresses that all Omani students in the city are safe. Consultative seminar discusses first draft of the national program for academic qualifications. And the Ministry of Housing approves the bylaw regulating the usufruct of the lands allocated for animal pens. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Isaias Afwerki of Eritrea on his country's independence anniversary. His Highness Sayyid Asad bin Tariq Al Saeed, Deputy Prime Minister for Relations Affairs and International Cooperation, a special representative of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Saeed, met His Excellency Mark G. Severs, U.S. Ambassador accredited to the Sultanate. During the meeting, they reviewed the existing bilateral relations between the two countries in various aspects and ways of enhancing them within the framework of the good frontal relations binding the two friendly countries. His Excellency Dr. Khamis bin Saif Mahmoud Al-Jabri, Chairman of the Implementation Support Unit, performed the loyal oath in front of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos in Beit al-Barakah this evening. The Sultanate strongly condemns the terrorist attack that took place yesterday at the pop concert in the British city of Manchester, in which dozens of people were killed and injured. The Sultanate, in a statement issued by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, reaffirmed its stand and solidarity with the United Kingdom to take all possible action to protect its national security and all necessary measures to prevent the recurrence of such attacks against innocent civilians. In the statement, the Sultanate extended its sincere condolences to the British government, families of the victims, and wishing the injured a speedy recovery. From its side, the cultural attaché at the Sultanate's embassy in London stressed that all Omani students in Manchester are safe, and it called on the students to be cautious and to keep away from the scene of the blast. A number of State Council members during the meeting emphasized on the importance of activating more food testing laboratories in the Sultanate. More details in the following report.
The State Council approved the Social Committee's proposal on setting policies to strengthen health for non-communicable diseases. A member of the State Council during the meeting emphasized on the importance of activating food testing laboratories and support these laboratories with qualified cadres. The meeting revealed that non-communicable diseases represent 68% of deaths in the Sultanate. It also tackled the importance of reactivating the role of field health teams. These teams are meant to make field visits to the outskirts in order to raise awareness among citizens about the importance of proper nutrition in order to avoid such diseases. The members also stressed on the importance of enforcing the Clean Air Act in light of the increase in the industrial activities in order to improve, strengthen and accelerate programs for the prevention and abatement of air pollution. They as well called upon the bodies concerned in the Sultanate to impose strict laws to prevent smoking in public places. The meeting disclosed that around 12% of Omanis have diabetes, whilst 29% of Omanis have obesity and 34% of them have high cholesterol. It as well unveiled that 1,600 cancer cases are registered in the Sultanate annually. The meeting was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Yahya bin Mahfoud al-Mandari, Chairman of the State Council.
Omani Academic Accreditation Authority held a consultation seminar on the National Qualifications Framework today under the auspices of His Excellency Dr. Saeed bin Hamad al-Rubai, Secretary General of the Education Council. The two-day seminar aims to consult with all stakeholders from various educational and training sectors in the Sultanate about the first draft of the National Qualification Framework, which the authority has recently completed, and take the observations into account in preparing the second draft of this framework. The development and updating of the National Qualifications Framework is one of the main competences of the authority under the Royal Decree for establishing it. The Minister of Housing approved the bylaw regulating the usages of lands allocated for annual plans. This step comes within the study carried out by the Joint Technical Committee concerned with urban planning. The Minister mentioned that the area of each piece of land will be 500 square meters. It as well stated that citizens can benefit from these lands for 2 years and can be renewed. The efforts exerted by the Minister of Housing in regulating and usages has led to the boost of economic projects in various governorates around the Sultanate. Still to come, our news bulletin. The Research Council, in collaboration with Falling Walls Foundation, organized the Falling Walls Lab Oman competition. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. Reviewing aspects of cooperation in a number of parliamentary fields between the Sultanate and Morocco were discussed by His Excellency Dr. Yahya bin Mahfoud al-Mandari, Chairman of the State Council, while receiving advisor Li'arabi al-Mahrashi, Chairman of Moroccan delegation at Omani-Moroccan Parliamentary Friendship Committee, who is an official visit to the Sultanate. During the meeting, both sides expand fields of bilateral cooperation in development, especially in the field of education, in addition to discuss role of parliamentary diplomacy in deepened joint relations between both sides. The Friendship Committee between the State Council and the Moroccan Council of Consultants held a discussion session. Here both sides reviewed ways of enhancing parliamentary relations in the field of legislations and laws, in addition to exchange researches, training and qualifying, besides reviewing aspects of scientific, economic and investment cooperation and in the field of air transport. The session also stressed the importance of activating memorandum of cooperation signed between both sides, in addition to coordinate situations of both councils in international parliamentary forums. Reviewing bilateral Omani-Moroccan relations and joint coordination and cooperation was discussed by His Excellency Khalid bin Hilal al-Mauli, Chairman of the Shura Council, while receiving advisor Li'arabi al-Mahrashi, Chairman of Moroccan delegation at Parliamentary Friendship Committee, who is in official visit to the Sultanate. During the meeting, the Chairman of the Shura Council presented a brief about the Council and its phases and development, in addition to legislative and regulatory powers, specializations and means of its work. From his side, advisor Li'arabi al-Mahrashi briefed the councils of representatives and consultants in terms of mechanisms of work and elections. Both sides discussed ways of developing joint work, especially in parliamentary fields. The Economic and Financial Committee of the Shura Council praised the role of public authority for radio and television and how the Experience the Economic Vision program has enriched the economic media. That was revealed during the discussion session by the Committee for the Reality and Future of the Economic Media in the Sultanate and its role in enhancing public awareness in the society and the bodies concerned with relevance of economic activities. The committee has reviewed the march of this program along 18 years and its role in spreading the culture of entrepreneurship, private business supporting small and medium enterprises, and attracting attention to the huge opportunities in the domestic business environment. The Ministry of Regional Municipalities and Water Resources stressed its preparedness for the blessed month of Ramadan through its intensive programs by visiting the food facilities to observe the meals offered during this month, as the demand to purchase such meals and different types of foodstuffs is increasing. The ministry also emphasized following up slaughterhouses and providing the needed services such as veterinarians to examine slaughtered animals and the consumption validity, in addition to the checking out of the sufficient number of laborers and hygiene workers in those houses in order to contribute in accelerating work completion and the safe disposal of slaughtered debris and to maintain the public health. As the blessed month of Ramadan is approaching, the purchasing activity increases, and with the consumption rising up, consumers should be aware not to exaggerate in shopping. Commercial shops are competing during this season to attract consumers as they render many competitive offers. However, prices have become affordable and goods are available and varying. Thus, consumers are advised not to be thriftless and extravagant. The Public Authority for Consumer Protection continuously follows up and observes the commercial shops and meanwhile explains to buyers the aspects of that they should be aware of. Industrial consumers in the Sultanate, who constitute 1% of the total consumers, have increased their demand on energy during the last 10 years by around 600%, which in turn creates a challenge for energy companies to provide it. The symposium on the rationalization of electricity energy for factories, conducted by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, is rounding up views and creating partnerships to promote mutual interest among the private sector and producers of energy. The cost-adjusted tariff was a concept put forward by the Electricity Regulatory Authority at the symposium and aims to help rationalize electricity among consumers of energy in the Sultanate. The new electricity tariff currently applied on commercial consumers was also explained. The attendees were further acquainted with the GCC initiatives being practiced to rationalize consumption. The Ministry of Health honored a number of blood donors and establishments contributing in the field of blood donation. The honoring came during the Ministry's celebration of World Blood Donor Day, which falls on June 14th every year. The ceremony, entitled "Donate Blood, Donate Now and Continuously," called upon various society segments to increase their donation of blood and not to wait for it until an emergency situation happens. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry recorded about 4,000 requests for trademarks, patents, applications for industrial models, authorized commercial licenses, imports, exhibitions and trade agencies with its various types, in addition to license of setting up products and occupational licenses during the end of the fourth quarter of 2016. Within annual exercises, plans are carried out by the Public Authority for the Civil Defence and Ambulance, aiming at measuring response speed and the preparedness extent of the teams affiliated to it, as well as government and private supportive units. The Administration of Civil Defence and Ambulance in the Governorate of Dakhliya has conducted a practical exercise at Al Huta Cave in Wilayat of Hamra. The exercise is based on a number of assumptions. The first, when a train derailed for tourists and a collapse of part of the cave. The second assumption is a fire breakout in the administrative building and how responsive teams deal with it according to the exercise plan. Municipality of Hood has closed 2 commercial establishments for non-application of health provisions during an inspection campaign it conducted for a number of shops, restaurants and stores in the wilaya. The municipality has also issued more than 12 violations to a number of commercial firms for not abiding by health regulations. This campaign, carried out by the municipality, aims to ensure the food safety as Ramadan month is approaching. The Research Council, in collaboration with Falling Walls Foundation, organized the Falling Walls Lab Oman competition at the Grand Mosque. Saleh bin Khalfan Rahbi has more details in the following report.
87 scientific projects were received in the second version of the Falling Walls Lab Oman competition, which is considered one of the challenging and inspiring contests concerned with researchers and innovation projects.
This year actually we had a less number in terms of the people who applied, but we have a much higher number in terms of shortlist. This year we have 87 who applied and we have 20 shortlisted. Last year we have 187, only 17 who have been shortlisted. So this year we have a far much better quality in the term of the project which applied for the competition itself.
In this competition, the applicants have to deliver a presentation about a research project, entrepreneurial or social initiative in front of a jury that is comprised of experts from academic fields, research institutions and businessmen.
We are here in Falling Lab Walls to present our final project, graduation final year project, which is about wastewater treatment and using the pencil lead fabricated, then converted to spongy phase, so it can absorb and attract the heavy metals and all the waste, the contaminant from the industrial wastewater before we send it to the sea.
Coming today to present my idea, which is develop and design a cooling jacket based on nano cooling technology. This competition gave me a chance to present my idea for all the people and to make it applicable for the future, inshallah. The problem that I solved it is the workers who get off from their jobs in the desert. So I'm planning to design this jacket to make them comfortable to work under high ambient temperature.
The competition works on enhancing innovation in the fields of science and entrepreneurship, in addition to encouraging students and entrepreneurs to exchange researches and innovative ideas in various fields. At the end of the event, one candidate will be selected to represent the Sultanate in the Falling Walls Conference that will take place in Berlin in November this year. For the Sultanate of Oman Television English News, Saleh bin Khalfan Rahbi, Muscat.
And now for the general forecast around the Sultanate. Clear to partly cloudy skies will prevail over the Governorate of Dhofar, and rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies. Winds will be south to southwesterly light to moderate, and seas will be slight to the maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultan of Oman television. Before we enter tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Highness Said Asad bin Tariq Al Saeed discusses with the U.S. Ambassador enhancing bilateral cooperation between the Sultanate and the United States. The Sultan condemns the terrorist attack in the British city of Manchester, and the Sultan's embassy in London stresses that all Omani students in the city are safe. Consultative seminar discusses first draft of the national program for academic qualifications. And the Minister of Housing approves the bylaw regulating the usufruct of the lands allocated by animal pens. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here in the newsroom and the studios, thanks for watching. Good night.